Hello, dear ladies and gents. My name is Liga Reimer from Spain here, naturopath. And today we will be talking about the coffee. We also started, we'll be in a detox, within the detox challenge, talking about other stimulants, sugar intake, which also affects our health. But today, in this short webinar, I would like you to look with me at the coffee. Because coffee itself, it's quite controversial. Some people say it's a wonderful antioxidant. Some people say it might affect your health. So I would like you to follow me and go through with me to see actually. So let's start on. First, I want to bring a lovely smile on your face. Coffee is not a villain. And I found a couple of quotes where we can see behind every successful woman is a substantial amount of coffee. I used to work in Manchester office, international office, and my coffee intake was about 6-7 coffees a day. I was maintaining my weight. I thought I was reasonably healthy. I used to exercise a lot, but that adrenaline stress targets in UK, it was quite high. And I didn't realize that 7 cups of coffee is a lot, to fulfill your tasks, your targets, and your day schedule. You need lots of coffee. So next one, which I agree, and I love the fresh ground smell of coffee. To me, the smell of coffee fresh made coffee is one of the greatest inventions. Hugh Jackson said it. And it for me as well, quite often I just like to sniff that fresh ground coffee just for sake of sniffing. It smells divine, and it's nature produced as well, coffee grounds. Humanity runs on coffee. I saw it pretty often when I used to leave my house 5 o'clock in the morning. I have to drive a long way. Then I have to halfway catch a train. And on the train, everyone just snoozing, whole train, workers, office workers going to Manchester offices in a town centre, city centre. And you know what the main thing was? Each single worker was with that cup of coffee. It's like culture thing. It makes you awake. But today we will look at different things as well, what coffee can bring along as well. And I do like this one when you come together with your friends, or like living now in Spain, people like to meet in cafes, chat, communicate. Coffee is a hug and a mug. I would agree with it. But today I want to look also at a different perspective and would like you to think, yes, it's enjoyable. It's a great part culture. It's a great community socializing or done the targets thing in a different parts of world. But what I would like you to do also would a little bit look into it, because before I didn't have that information and no one actually gave me that information. But I didn't realize, but at a time when I was drinking 7 cups of coffee a day, where did my high cholesterol and my cortisol up and my stress and later a day overweight started coming on, and blood pressure problems, high blood pressure problems came from. 7 cups a day is a little bit too much. So coffee will likely remain one of the most controversial and deeply debated topics in the nutrition science for all times, because one studies might highlight its benefits, and while others point out its drawbacks. And here I would like you to think critically and think for yourself. Also think that everything can be medicine or poison depending on quantity. As I said before, I'm starting morning and long hours with my alkaline water. And I love that freshly ground, wonderful coffee, especially if it's experienced with a meeting with friends, socializing, chatting, communicating. But 7 cups of coffee was far too much for me. I know now that. So what I would like to mention here, for an otherwise healthy person, cup of coffee won't do much harm. So if you're healthy enough, 1, maximum 2 maybe. My body normally at that stage, when you go through healthy detox, you start registering which is good and which is not quite right for my body. So 1 cup of coffee, I feel it's absolutely fine for me. Some days, if I have a bigger, how do you say, impact day, and I would like another coffee, but what I started feeling after drinking regularly with my water regimen, that coffee, second cup of coffee makes my mouth dehydrated. You like, something is missing here. You won't drink more water after it. I started registering it, I think, after drinking quite a long time alkaline water. And it's a good thing to know, to understand, and to register how your body feels. So if consumed correctly, not in the morning, also in empty stomach, and we will talk about it later why, it could be absolutely fine. However, if you have already health issues and you're experiencing high daily stress, you have digestive problems, and you are considering a long-term health, then it would be wise to reassess your caffeine intake, okay? To look into it, whether it's good for me. So what I would like to note as well, lots of people think that caffeine does suppress the appetite. So I'll drink just black coffee more and I will eat less. In fact, caffeine doesn't suppress appetite. In fact, it can stimulate it. Coffee, actually, it is a stimulant because caffeine is there. It also could increase the stomach acid production, which why consuming caffeine and coffee on an empty stomach, I've seen lots of people do it, can lead to gastritis and stomach ulcer. So if you have already genetically, or you already more positions towards these health issues, yeah, so please take note that your coffee can stimulate these health issues even more. Additionally, coffee and caffeine can worsen irritable bowel syndrome. So people who already have these kind of health issues, they would really need to look into it more seriously. Let's look to next one. A little bit about sugar, insulin, and glycemic index. If we talking about black natural coffee, it has almost negligible glycemic index, so it's absolutely fine. It is not having high glycemic index, but it's only natural black coffee. It is not instant. It is not with the cream. It is not with the milk. It is not like I'm living here in close to Valencia area now in Spain, and they have such a rich coffee culture that coming into cafe and asking just for coffee or coffee with milk, it doesn't say anything to the bartender, because there is 100 types of coffee. One of the favorites is bonbon coffee, which is a coffee with condensed milk. How much sugar is in there, right? So if you look only at natural and just black coffee, that has a very low glycemic index, and likely cookies, which have a really high glycemic index because of that sugar and refined carb contents. So that means the coffee on its own doesn't raise the blood glucose level, sugar levels, in the same way as food high in carbohydrates. But there are two buts. One is, quite often I've seen in this office culture, when we girls come together, we in a huge international Manchester office, we had different departments. And when we used to come together from our part of the world, we used to bring nuts and cookies and sweets. And it's kind of like, and you have a coffee break and you feel alert and you have this sugar. So obviously your glycemic index is much higher than just natural black coffee. Also, what I want to mention that lots of people do not realize that caffeine, while coffee itself has a low glycemic index, caffeine can indeed, what's in a coffee, yeah, that stimulant, indeed can affect blood glucose indirectly. In some people, caffeine stimulates the release of adrenaline. You feel more alert, more driven, which may cause a temporary increase in a blood glucose by prompting the liver to release stored glucose. So, however, this effect varies based on individual caffeine tolerance, metabolism, and overall health. So if you have already these conditions, you do need to look into it. Insulin and glucose stability. For those with insulin resistance or diabetes, caffeine might interfere with insulin sensitivity temporarily. So you need to look into it as well. Yeah, so it's not that innocent. But as I said, there's two options: what we drink coffee with, cookies, pastries, and so on, or it's a coffee with all these rich additives as well. So obviously then glycemic index is much higher as well. And even you drink just natural black coffee, it can still affect your glucose level indirectly. So I would like you to register. When we go into detoxification of our body, our main part is to learn to feel, to understand how our body responds and resonates with the processes we're going through. Caffeine elevates adrenaline, which I already mentioned, and noradrenaline levels, providing a temporary energy boost. That's why people falling out of bed. I remember myself. I didn't know, no one taught me to start with alkaline water or with water full stop, but to falling out of bed, stumbling out of bed because you got so many targets and tasks ahead, and plus long road this way and back to the office. First thing what you do, you grab that sweet cup of coffee. But this often was, people don't realize that after a little amount of time, this adrenaline boost, yeah, later it's often followed by increased fatigue. So you feel more tired. And that's when you need another cup. That's why I was living with 6-7 coffee cups a day. It also raises the stress hormone, which is cortisol, and can lead to accelerated heart rate and higher blood pressure, which was my main problem. But I somehow didn't connect these two, plus high blood pressure and huge caffeine intake. When combined with the stress, because our everyday life is stressful anyway, our challenges, our tasks, our routine, jobs, businesses, lifestyle, children, everything around us, everything around us is pretty stressful environment. And when it's combined with the stress, coffee can push the body into heightened state of anxiety, where blood pressure and heart rate becomes unhealthy and starts weakening your immune system. But that first bell, maybe I should reduce coffee, maybe I start with water, maybe. So what I want to make note on other aspect of caffeine. Caffeine also acts as a diuretic, leading to dehydration. Now I can register and feel it. That's why one freshly ground nice black coffee in the morning is absolutely fine, but not on empty stomach again. But if I have throughout the day, second one, I feel my body is start screaming for the additional water intake. I feel it, but I think that develops by time. Also, I want to remind you that it binds, coffee particularly binds and stimulates elimination of various very vital for our body and health macro and micronutrients, for example, calcium, which can contribute to osteoporosis. So people who drink high amount of caffeine, they always have potentially be inclined to osteoporosis development. Indirectly, caffeine can affect the colon's mucous membrane, disrupting the normal movement of food through the intestines, promoting the reabsorption of toxins, causing constipation. So if you're struggling with constipation, you also should assess how much water you start your day, how do you drink water, and how much coffee you take in through the day. It seems too not common things, yeah, you don't put together constipation and coffee, but it could hinder these problems, hindering the weight loss and overall health improvement as well. So I want to look at another one. Coffee, 1 cup of coffee a day. Now I'm talking about people who might be anemic or low on iron. So this is particularly important for you. That a cup of coffee, 1 cup of coffee can reduce non-heme iron absorption. Non-heme iron absorption, it's a plant-based iron. So you eat plants, you spinach, lentils, you eat plant-based iron-rich foods. But if you do that together at the same time with a coffee, you know, how we used to, we have a meal and we have a cup of coffee. If you do it at the same time, then your rich nutrient, iron, rich with iron and nutrient, micronutrient food can be absorbed less by 40–90% because of the coffee with the meal. The reduction largely depends on the coffee strength, timing, and whether it's consumed with the meal, as polyphenols in the coffee bind the iron and reduces its absorption. The same happens with the black tea. Well, I'll mention why I want to mention the tea, because I know English culture where it's a lovely black tea with the milk. And plus a good spoon of sugar. So this also can have a strong inhibitory effect due to tannins in the black tea, and can reduce iron absorption approximately by 60 to even 80% when you consume your black tea with a rich iron food. So when you are looking into, it's not only for moms to be, but it's also for women, it's also for any age of adult. If you are low on iron, obviously, later we will give you information. It's also gut cleansing, anti-parasite could help. But one of the things, your coffee intake together with meal, even that meal is iron packed, rich with nutrients and microelements and iron, it cannot absorb it because of coffee or black tea. To minimize these effects, what's the tip here? Drinking coffee or tea an hour before or after meal can lessen the impact on iron absorption. So if you have that rich nutrient-packed meal, try to drink coffee hour after it, or maybe hour before. But again, here, watch so it's not an empty stomach. Now, I would like you to mention a little bit about sleep quality. It does affect us, even we want to or don't want to admit it. It is not recommended, okay, by general scientific research to consume caffeine containing beverages within 8 even hours before bedtime, meaning that it could avoid so avoid these beverages later part of the day, even 6 hours before the bed, drinking coffee or black tea. Green tea is actually quite strong as well. I do like drink green tea sometimes, but I kind of felt like in the second part of the day, especially particularly before bed, my body doesn't ask for it, do not require it. Half of the caffeine will be still circulating in your bloodstream even when you are asleep. And although it may not feel you as it affected you, many studies have shown that caffeine significantly impacts our ability to fall asleep, and not only to fall asleep. Even people say, oh, I can drink coffee before bed and it's not affecting my sleep, falling asleep. It can affect your quality of sleep, okay, how deep status you are in sleep. And those response studies, I did some little research as well, did demonstrate that increasing dosages of caffeine administered at or near the bedtime are associated with significant sleep disturbances. So it's associated with quality of sleep, how well you sleep, how well you rested, because our body regenerates and rests when we sleep, recharges our batteries, and mainly restarts and regenerates us. So if we have higher intake of stimulants before bed, our sleep is disturbed, and it will be disturbed. So our restoration, regeneration processes not going to be that well performed in a sleep while we sleep. Also, another fact later on, I will soon finish, it's a pH balance. Important aspect that coffee do create acidic environment, pH in the body, not only dehydrates, but also pH. As we know, from basics of health concept, our task is to maintain an alkaline environment, as viruses, bacteria, and all other parasites and other pathogenic microflora cannot live, multiply, and thrive in alkaline environment. However, they do it perfectly. Staphylococcus, streptococcus, bacteria, fungus, viruses, bacteria, parasites, all these pathogens, they love acidic environment. So by drinking more coffee, yes, it's a wonderful drink, but by drinking it often and more, we actually implement and create more acidic environment, which again supports all these pathogens to thrive and develop more. So our task is enjoy that 1 cup of coffee and take time, but don't overuse it. Qualities and quantities. If you frequently experience conditions like candida, herpes virus, constipation, rashes, allergies, and other health problems, it indicates an acidic environment in your body. And coffee can escalate it, increase it. So our task is to think of alkaline environment, alkaline-based food, which is packed with antioxidants, which is macronutrients, and without the coffee. So coffee is before or after as well. So this is kind of challenging task to maintain it, but when you get used to it, it feels natural as 2 + 2. At first, after listening all this probably workshop about coffee, you'll say, oh my God, how do I live? And how do I arrange my life? And what do I do? But later, when you get used to and you maintain it every day, it is easy. A little bit at the end of my workshop, I would like you to look at the coffee. How does coffee work on biomechanical level? On our biometrical level in our body, and why does it make us feel so alert, and why does it create such an addiction? Actually, for example, in the morning we often drink coffee to wake up, to feel alert, to wake up. That's what I did. You are so tired, exhausted, but it's a pattern, it's a cycle. You come home late evening, some late stimulants, food, too much rich, or not rested well enough, too much gadgets, and to feel alert and awake, you need that cup of coffee. And after a while, you need again, and you need one more. However, caffeine itself doesn't provide this energy, much like other stimulants do. Instead, what does caffeine does in that coffee? Caffeine blocks adenosine receptors. There are certain receptors in our brain which are creating that signal of tiredness, sleepiness, drowsiness, saying you need relax, you need to rest, you need a good sleep. And it alerts us to make us understand, okay, my body needs a restart, recharge, regenerate. And these receptors, adenosine, they do create these signals. So what does coffee do? Caffeine in a coffee, it shuts off these signals, and it creates the effect, feeling of alertness. It just prevents these signals to reach us. And this effect creates us like you're not getting less tired, you're just not receiving signals of your tiredness. And we are mistaking these signals by increasing energy and alertness. Oh, I have energy, I can do around, I can get on with my tasks. And quite often it comes back again. And many people feel more energized after drinking coffee, but this process actually masks an underlying constant fatigue. As caffeine wears off, the body still needs a rest. It didn't go anywhere. It still needs that restart, recharge, and regeneration. Excessive caffeine can lead to chronic tiredness, and person in that chronic state is never rested, not good, haven't got good sleep. They didn't recharge, and you wake up already tired. So coffee stimulates adrenaline production, which may put additional strain, as I already mentioned, of adrenaline glands and health overall. So what I would like you to look at, why it creates such a huge addiction and qualities, yeah, due to its effect on these receptors in the brain, who shut up that they do not make you more energetic. They just shut up these receptors who try to tell you, I'm tired, I need a rest, I need to recharge, you need to take time, put away gadgets, feel more alert, listen what I'm saying to you. And that's how our body talks to us. Our part is to talk, to listen it. But what we do, we take a coffee, we shut it off, we keep going because we got so many things in life to tackle. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter that promotes sleep and relaxation, as already mentioned. And caffeine, it just binds its receptors, adenosine, it's actually causing drowsiness and signaling the brain it's time to rest. It's time to rest. But when we consume a coffee, caffeine is a key component of the coffee. It blocks these receptors in the brain, as I already said. This blockage prevents adenosine from binding and signaling drowsiness, and that's why you feel more alert. This false sense, what I would like to mention you, this gives you full sense of alertness, of energy. So it is not the real body in real state of energy. It's just a full sense, creating you full sense that you full of energy. And it can lead to dependence of caffeine intake to maintain wakefulness and alertness throughout the day. That's why I needed these 6-7 cups of coffee a day. Why? Because over time, our body is really clever, how it works inside of us. It's absolutely amazing, a clever machine. Over time, brain may register that something is not right, you're not resting, body is not recharged and rested, and he increases the number of adenosine receptors to compensate this blocking effect. So therefore, it contributes to tolerance of caffeine, and you need to increase the caffeine to block them more even. And that's how it creates that addiction, 1 cup a day, 2 cups a day, 3 cups a day, 4 cups a day. And I ended up with 7 cups a day, and it was not enough for me just to keep myself going, to feel energy. But that's but that's a false sense. That's a not real source of energy. That's when body is rested, when you calm, when your body is in harmony, and all systems work perfectly. So, and that's how addiction to coffee is created. In essence, coffee doesn't directly provide energy, which I already mentioned to you a couple of times, but blocks the perception of tiredness, creating the feeling of increased energy and alertness, which is again false sense. And what I would like to mention here was this amazing, wonderful, sweet, bitter taste of coffee, and all these varieties, like in Spain, 100 types of coffee, and social aspect, people meeting, feeling unite, they communicating, talking. It's actually huge impact coffee makes to our life. But what I would like to, at the end of webinar, to mention you, to realize that to let your body, without these stimulants, to feel how it feels. If it's signaling about sleepiness, drowsiness, you need a rest, then take the time off and rest. Put these gadgets away. But take a time off in your life where you can recharge yourself. And in the morning, waking up in the morning like this, you're going to feel different. You're going to feel like each morning is a new beginning. You can take a moment to stretch, to feel energy flow through your body, and breathe in this fresh air of the new day. Notice and feel how you feel, your sensations, emotions, your thoughts, which all are within you. When I used to work and have these 7 coffees a day, I never had time to register how tired, how absolutely exhausted I am, because I got everyday targets, office, jobs, run, routine, children, family to be fed. And you actually in that, I would call it rat race, where you just stumble out of bed, pile down coffee while you're drinking to work. You grab next cup of coffee in a train station. I was halfway driving train to, and while you walk into the office, you're ready because you already had 2 big cups of coffee. but you do not register how you feel. You do not register your emotions, feelings, sensations, what your body tries to tell you. So, and what I would recommend going through that detox process, let these feelings come in, like go, even they go in like waves, to root yourself in the presence, where I am, who I am, and how do I feel, and accept it. Because today, each day, it's your, fully allow yourself, fully experience one step at a time, one moment at a time, embrace you being here right now. And I think this is a matter what quite often stimulants take away from us, because there is this target, work, job, tasks, goals, so many things to do. You stop registering, realizing how you feel, where you are, and embracing you being here and right now. So that I would encourage you to do. And that was my workshop about coffee. Thank you very much if you listened at all. And I hope if you have a questions, you can always put it within the group or in any your health consultants consulted with. Thanks for listening. Bye.